if there's a lot of, I have no idea how many I don't know if it goes by heart attacks or what it goes, how it divides it
Well,
out.
we can break it up in different. One thing you just need to keep in mind is I can't be, the 1,800 blocks, I have to stay very generic because of HIPAA. But what we could do is we could break it up into areas. So the south area, the north, and the central that we have broken up, the type of calls that we have in there, both fire and EMS, absolutely.
I think that'd be helpful. So, good, City Manager Coleman.
I would just suggest maybe looking at what Paul sends out and modeling that, because there's no addresses or anything on that. It's really more type of call and how many.
Yeah, that's not a problem at all.
And just to that point, I wrote to the chief today. I wrote back and said, how do certain incidents show up? It's not always clear, so I guess we have a question we have to follow up and, figure that out. If there's something we're not sure how it's being delineated. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks. Chief Lucan, Council Member Juniman.
I'd just like to point out under one of the chief's major points in the background, and it's something that has been in the making and has finally happened, the new CAD system that the county bought, and we knew it was going to have a great impact in the police department, but I don't think people realized what was not available to the fires before and is now has to make a huge difference. And it's not just about response time, it's about availability of the ability to figure out what you're heading into. And the new computer-aided dispatch, bringing the information right into the computers that are in the trucks and the ambulances, that didn't happen before. So that's bound to make a time gap and a knowledge gap. And so it's about time we did this. We're better late than never. But I just wanted to point out that it affects both our police and fire departments at big time. And yes, over time we're going to be paying for it. That's the way the mob flops. You have to pay for those kinds of things. But it was long overdue, and I think it's really going to pay off, not only in money, but in the actual happenings and how they can respond. You have to give people the right tools to work with.
Exactly.
If I can, Mayor, to go along with Kathy or Councilmember Juniman's, absolutely it already has, is because having the GPS built into the system there, when you get to some of these streets, Sterling and that runs from one end of the city to the other, just having that one number off may mean you got to go an extra 2 miles to get around something to get to that. And there are other streets like that within the city as well. And having that, being able to plot that out for us has been a huge saving to us in time, and so it's been great already, not even considering all the other great items that the CAD offers.
Excellent. So thank you. And City Manager Coleman, I'm going to ask you a question. One of the reasons we're having these budget presentations, like we're talking about when we need extra staff or things are going to happen because there's going to, ultimately, we've approved a temporary levy increase, a projected levy increase that we will then pass. And so as though we go through these presentations, we kind of see what the departments are adding, and I think that at some point we're probably going to have to talk about what might have to be cut if we don't pass that levy, right?
Yes, thank you, Mayor, members of the City Council. That is indeed true. In September, we set what we call the preliminary levy, which is the highest we can levy for the following year, and that has been set at 4%. The budgets that you've been seeing and hearing about the last few weeks and next week as well, or next meeting as well, are all dependent on that 4% increase. So if we don't have a 4% increase, there will be cuts that will have to be made, and I will be putting those cuts that have actually, department heads are required to show what cuts they would have to make, and so they have done that. But we will be filtering through those again and bringing those back, and so that you will have that template to work from should there be a change of heart with the council when we come to adopting the budget on December 15th.
So we would get those before that packet of the week of December 15th, or when would we see?
I would try to get that to you sooner, so you'd have that, be able to spend some time looking at that. And I'd also offer an opportunity to meet with myself or Gail.
If you have questions about
things, yep.
That was one of the things with 622 school referendum not passing, is clearly there's going to be more cuts. There's been cuts and cuts and cuts. So now more teachers are going to be cut and more staff are going to be cut, and there's going to be more kids in every classroom. And I'm not sure people always equate those when things like that don't pass, or if we don't do the 4%, then what happens? It's real. It's not just like anybody else's budget.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So let's see. We have the review of tree ordinance amendments. And who is Ms. Finwall, are you going to do that tonight?
Yes, I will have a brief presentation for you.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council.